Hey guys, so first of all, sorry for the totally random filming background. I'm actually at my in-laws house right now and I forgot to film the intro to this video and then the outro got like corrupted while I was exporting, so I'm having to refilm it. But today's video is going to be a first impressions and review on the new L'Oreal Magic Nude Liquid Powder. If you guys watched my previous first impressions and review video of foundation, then you saw that I teamed up with my good friend Melissa. Love Melissa Michelle here on YouTube. Her video will be linked down below. And I'm sure I'll have some kind of annotation here as well. But we just thought it was a really good idea to team up and use the same foundation just because I have more of a dry to combination skin, whereas she has kind of really oily skin. So that way you kind of get a review for no matter which kind of skin, not tone, I guess skin type that you have. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on to, I guess, my overall review of it, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert a demo and then give you my final thoughts. So the foundation that we're talking about today is the new L'Oreal Paris Magic Nude Liquid Powder. I believe this came out maybe a month and a half ago, maybe just a month ago, I'm not sure. I picked mine up at Walmart. I think on L'Oreal's website it said that it can retail up to around $14. I purchased mine at Walmart for, I believe, $10.97, and it comes in 12 different shades. I ended up going with 326 True Beige. One thing that I can tell you guys right away about this formula is that it definitely oxidizes. It doesn't do so right away, but I definitely noticed about an hour to 2 hours later my face did darken up, but for me it wasn't that big of a problem because I had self-tan previously, so my neck ended up kind of matching the color. But yeah, if you guys are really fair, you might want to go like a shade below what you think you normally would be. Otherwise you may end up with like a really tan face. And then I also noticed that a lot of them ran more yellow base, which was nice for me just because I feel like a ton of drugstore foundations tend to be more on the pinkier side, which can sometimes be frustrating for us more yellow toned ladies. So the claim on this foundation, according to L'Oreal, is that it goes from liquid to powder with immediate contact of your skin. So when you listen to it in the bottle, it's definitely super liquidy. Even when you pour it out, it's pretty much like water-based. It just runs right out. And even on the bottle, the application says to shake it well and then just apply straight with your fingers. They don't recommend trying it with a brush or a sponge, so I just never did, because typically you don't want to use something like a beauty blender or a brush with something so liquidy anyways. Otherwise it's just going to soak the product right up and you're not really going to get much onto your face. One thing that I really don't like about the product is the application. Because it is so watery, it's incredibly messy. I don't recommend just pouring it onto your fingertips like it says. I know this isn't very sanitary, but I guess if you wash your hands, you know, every time right before, which you should be doing anyways, I just like to kind of put a fingertip on it and then pop it over. Otherwise you're risking running stuff everywhere. So here is the product. It's just incredibly liquidy. So as you rub it in, it just turns into a powder, and I want to say that the finish is more of kind of like a satin matte, not a full-on matte, so I guess like a semi or a demi-matte finish. Now before I lead you guys into the demo, I did just want to quickly mention that it does have SPF 18. So I guess that's my last random little fact. Now let's go ahead and roll on to the demonstration. Hopefully this lighting isn't too weird. It's just really dark back there, so I'm having to do this in front of the window. If there's a little bit of a bluish cast, I apologize, but for the most part I don't think that should affect like how you guys can see the coverage and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just get into the foundation. Like I mentioned earlier, I picked mine up in 326 True Beige, and on the back it says, for application, shake well. For best makeup result, pour just a few drops onto fingers and apply directly onto skin. Not recommended for use with a sponge or brush. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and trust the experts and not use a brush or a sponge. So give this a shake and I guess just pour it out. That's one thing that I cannot stand about foundations. Foundations that don't come with some kind of pump, things that you just have to pour out. I don't know, stuff like this gets messy. So I guess, I don't know, I feel weird just putting it onto my fingers because I may get too much, but okay, whatever, we're gonna do what the bottle said. So just pour a tiny bit in. Oh, I'm scared. Okay, wow, that's like super runny. I'm gonna go ahead and do it one more time so you guys can see. Do you see what I mean? It's just like dripping out of there like water. Okay, so push my hair out of the way and just pop this on. All I have on right now is moisturizer and sunscreen. I have on the Neutrogena Clear Face Sunscreen, but I've been using this with almost all of my foundations, so this shouldn't affect it in any way. So I guess just rub it together. Oh, this is so weird. It's like so thin. Okay, I'm guessing for color selection, I did a pretty good job because it's like pretty much blending right into my skin as soon as I put it on. So texture wise, it's just really, really thin. I don't know, it's totally different than any other foundation I've used before. Like, it seriously just feels like liquid, but when you rub your fingers together, it kind of has like a silicone-y texture, like something that you would find in a primer, but just really, really thin. So, okay, I guess I thought I had poured out too much, but that pretty much covered one whole side of my face. It's super, super light coverage, but I feel like it did cover some of the redness that I had around my nose. But once again, it's light enough coverage to where my freckles and some scarring is still peeking through. I'm gonna go ahead and rub this in and do a close-up for you guys. Let me just do it on this side of my face first. Okay, so here's a side with no foundation, so you can see a ton of freckles, some darkness under my eyes, and then here is the side with the foundation. So like I said, it did cover some of like the pinkiness I have around my nose right here. It did kind of lighten up the freckles, but for the most part, I feel like it still looks like skin. And I don't know if you guys can tell right here, the foundation does have a little bit of a sheen to it. Okay, so now that we're zoomed back out, here is the side with no foundation, and here's the side with foundation. Now, to me, obviously, I can tell that there is something on there because I feel like this side looks a lot smoother than my face, and I definitely think that silicone-y texture that I had mentioned earlier definitely kind of like covered up my pores a bit because I didn't apply any kind of primer. All I had on is sunscreen and moisturizer. So I will say I feel like it smoothed out my face, kind of like blurred it out, I guess, but it doesn't really provide that much coverage. So let's go ahead and finish this other side of my face. Just gonna go ahead and dab. I really don't like how, like, the application from the bottle. I just think that's really messy and not very practical. Okay, so just rubbing this right on in. I will say with how thin and like liquidy it is super easy to blend. It doesn't really feel greasy to me. Like I said, it just has that weird kind of silicone-y texture, but it's still really light. So I feel like this is a foundation where I would have to use concealer because I feel like I still need a little bit of coverage. So as I continue to rub this in, it kind of dries into a powder finish. I guess that's why it's called the liquid powder. But I will say, since it does go into that powder finish, the areas where I have kind of like drier like pieces of skin, like right around my nose, I feel like it's catching on that. Like I can see my dry skin right there. So I don't really like that part. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish off with my forehead now. Oh. Okay, so here is one complete layer of foundation. Like I said, you can still see freckles. I do feel like it toned down redness and definitely kind of like blurred and smoothed out my skin by like hiding pores. The one thing that I can tell you I don't like right now, besides just having to like pour it out of the bottle, is how it's catching onto little areas of dry skin. So I feel like if you have really dry skin, you definitely have to exfoliate before using this, just because since it does dry into that powder finish, yeah, I just feel like it really kind of like pronounces the dry patches. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and try one more layer of foundation, but first I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in. Okay, so here is a close-up of one full layer of foundation. I feel like this cheek is a better cheek to kind of go off as a guideline, just because I'm really freckly on this side. The coverage of this so far is super minimal. Okay, so one thing I can say about this foundation, with applying the second layer, I feel like I'm moving the first layer around. Like, I can see streakiness, so I don't like that. With that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop right here, since I am going to keep this foundation on for a couple hours to come back in and check in with you guys. I don't want to be stuck with like a streaky cake face look. So I'm going to leave it right here and go ahead and powder. Landon and I just have to run some errands, so I don't think I'm going to pop on concealer and everything. I'm just going to leave it as this, so kind of a lighter, fresh face foundation, and just go ahead and finish it off with some powder. I'm not going to lie, I did read several reviews of this foundation before I ever purchased it, and it seemed like for the most part, a lot of them were negative, and I guess I can kind of see why. I don't think it's a foundation you'd want to buy if you were looking for heavy coverage, just because this foundation is so lightweight. I feel like even building it up, you wouldn't even get to like medium coverage. But honestly, right now, I'm really liking it. I feel like I look fresh faced and clean. To me, my skin right now honestly looks like a no makeup look, you know? So if you're just looking for super simple foundation just to wear maybe out around the house, or if you're just running a couple errands, I don't know, I feel like this is good right. So it is now 7:16 p.m., so almost 7 hours after applying this foundation, and I will say, for how lightweight the foundation went on, I feel like it kind of held up pretty well throughout the day. I only powdered my T-zone once, and I think that was about 5 hours in. Lynn and I spent a couple hours outside outside today, so I will say for battling the humidity, for being such a thin foundation, I really am impressed. But once again, like I said, if you're looking for a like heavy coverage foundation, this isn't going to be the one for you. But if you're looking for a foundation that's really lightweight and comfortable to wear throughout the day, especially like if you live in a humid climate like me, I think this is a really good one. So I don't know, for the first day, I will say I am pretty darn impressed. I'm sure I'll check in with you guys in about a week or so. Alright, so hopefully that demo was a little bit more informative for you guys. Now onto my final thoughts of the foundation. The main thing that I want to stress to you guys is if you're in the market for a full coverage heavy duty foundation, then by all means totally skip over this because it's not going to be the foundation for you. I feel like the people that are going to enjoy this foundation more are the people who really like matte face and body foundation, something that's just really sheer and lightweight. One thing that I really do enjoy about this foundation is even though it's so sheer and lightweight, the longevity of it is like really good. I was super impressed. I wore it for I think 7 hours total, maybe a little bit over 7 hours during that first impressions video, and I only had to powder my face one time, and I don't know, to me in Florida's humidity, that's pretty impressive. But once again, if you're looking for something full coverage, this one isn't going to be the one for you, so just don't even bother with it. But if you're someone who really does like more natural looking foundations, something that's just going to give you sheer coverage and still allow your face to look like skin, then I do think it is definitely worth a shot. So overall, I think I'm still just kind of on the fence with this foundation. I haven't really reached for it more than just the time that I had to experiment with it for a week. Since then, I haven't reached back for it like I did with the new Maybelline foundation. With that being said, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a product that I repurchased. However, I'm still glad that I got to test it out for you guys. And once again, I feel like this is kind of a product that you can just skip over unless you're just a beauty junkie and you like trying every new product, because I honestly don't see anything that magical or like a holy grail in this product. So that completes this first impression / review video. I feel kind of bad because I feel like the Maybelline one was way more informative, but I feel like there was more in that foundation to talk about than with this one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, don't forget to check out Melissa's video if you guys have oily skin, and that will be linked down below. And if you guys would like to see more of these kind of collab reviews videos, just give this video a thumbs up. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!